Good morning, Jamaica. Welcome to the Star Spangled Sit-Down. I am your host, Bobby Adelson, and we are very, very lucky to be joined today by a special guest. Now, yesterday was International Women's Day, and today we have a woman in a leadership position here at the U.S. Embassy. I'm so happy to have Michelle Mason, our acting deputy chief of mission, and our management counselor on the show. Welcome.
Good morning, Bobby. How are you today?
Good. Let's get right started. So first off, tell us about yourself. You just became the acting deputy chief of mission last week or so.
Correct.
What do you do here at the embassy? Both jobs. I know you have two hats going on. How long have you been in the Foreign Service? And just give us some background.
All right, great. So yes, I just arrived in Kingston at the end of August. My normal job is the management counselor. And as the management counselor, I oversee all internal operations. So from purchasing and motor pool and housing and leasing and finance and facilities and property, and just all of that is under the umbrella of the management section. And so all of those people with the largest section in the embassy. So we have a lot of people working for us and here at the embassy compound and in our other compounds. So a lot going on. Also the IRM, the computers, all of that kind of stuff. So that's the management platform. And we're the service providers. We're in the customer service business. So we're the service providers for everybody in the embassy, for the Americans that are here assigned to Jamaica for their assignments, their family members, their children, and also our local staff. And so we provide these services for everyone here at the embassy. So if you want a pen or if you need a car, you come to management for that. And then, as you mentioned, I just started as the acting deputy chief of mission on March 1st. And now I'm getting involved in more of the overall mission objectives of the embassy. So getting to do things like this, interacting more with the public, learning about what we do as an entire mission, and I hope that's going to make me a better management counselor to help support all the different agencies and the mission that we have here at Post. So I joined the Foreign Service in 2007. Yep. So a little later in my career, I had a whole life before I joined the Foreign Service. So I've been in about 15 years.
And where have you served?
Oh, let's see. So I have served in the Foreign Service. I've served in India, Ecuador, Guayaquil, Ecuador, Naples, Italy. I was in Washington for about 3 years where we worked together in IIP.
Right.
And then I was in Suriname, Paramaribo, and then Cuba in Havana. And now I'm here in Kingston. But this is my 34th address.
Wow.
So, so I've been moving my entire life.
Can you tell us the other 33? We don't have enough time.
Probably don't have enough
Okay.
time. But my father was in the military. And so I grew up literally starting at 9 months old. We were moving.
Wow.
So I've lived in Germany and Japan. And prior to the Foreign Service, I've raised 3 children. They're all adults now and doing well. And run my own businesses. I've just done a wide variety of things.
You mentioned obviously that you've had 34 different addresses and that your father was in the Air Force, so you moved around a lot. And now you are kind of mimicking that role in terms of moving around a lot. How has that shaped who you are in your worldview?
That's interesting. When people ask me, so where are you from? I'm like, it's a good question.
Right.
I was born in Kansas, and that's where my mother's from. But my father grew up in the military. I grew up in the military, and then I continued to move. So I say I'm a child of the world. And so that makes I pick up accents very quickly.
Good. You don't have the Jamaican patois yet?
Not yet. I'm working on it. I am working on it. So I need some help with that.
Good.
But I also enjoy history. I enjoy learning about the cultures. Whatever country I'm in, I want to learn about the history of the country, about the culture, the religion of the country, and what the people believe,
right,
and what motivates them. And I feel that also helps make me a better leader in this environment. So I love to travel and to see new things, and to my home is where I am.
Well, speaking of where you are right now, we are in Kingston, Jamaica. I know you just arrived not too long ago, and you probably haven't had a chance to get out too much, but what type of things are you looking forward to seeing and doing here in Jamaica?
Wow. So my husband, Tom, and I, we love the mountains, and we have a fantastic view of the beautiful Blue Mountains here. And so we are really looking forward to getting up into those mountains, and trying going to the coffee plantations. We enjoy coffee, and visiting that. We're looking forward to going out to Port Royal to learn more about the history of the port and how that shaped Jamaica,
Right.
And Kingston especially, and also getting over to just the different outlying areas, get out to Negril. I want to experience the entire island. We do want to travel around the entire island, but we really like the mountains. So we're very fortunate to have a beautiful view of the mountains every day.
Awesome. Now, family matters a lot to you, and we actually have someone I'm going to pull up right now, a member of your family chiming in. This is your sister, Megan Largent.
Actually, it's my daughter.
Sorry, Megan. Woohoo!
That's right. All right, Megan.
All right, let's go back. Okay, so speaking of family, you had mentioned you had a career before this. Megan is one of your 3 kids, right? So you were a stay-at-home mom of 3 kids. What was that like, and how important is family to you?
Family is very important, especially moving around so much. It was my mother, my father, my brother, and I, and that was us. That was our nuclear family. We would visit, when we could, but when we were in Japan for 3 years, we couldn't come home. So that nuclear family is very important. I admire, both of my parents so very much in raising us pre-internet overseas in Japan and in Germany. And then just, my children, they're all doing very well.
Right.
We can keep in touch now. My husband and his family, he has 2 daughters.
Right.
We keep in touch with them a lot. And so even though we're overseas, almost on a daily basis, we're in touch with our family in some way. His family is in Pennsylvania.
Nice.
And so, we message with them often, and his brother and his sister. So just keeping those contacts and that support and sharing our lives with them as well. Family is all you have.
So speaking of family, I think we have a family photo. I wanted to pull up an older photo that we have. Let's go to the photo that we have of you playing with your football and cheerleading outfit on. I think we're looking right now at a photo of you with an NBA basketball player.
Yes.
But so we'll skip to that. So who is this and where are we?
So we're in Naples, Italy. You can see Mount Vesuvius in the background there. And that's actually, I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan from my time living in San Antonio. And that's Matt Bonner. He was a center for San Antonio Spurs. The gentleman to the other side, that's my son.
Awesome.
Now my son is 6'3".
Right.
So you can see Matt Bonner.
Shows you how tall Matt Bonner is.
It's quite a bit taller. But that trophy is the actual NBA championship trophy from 2014. He came to Naples, was doing a 3-on-3 tournament. He was the guest there, and I was stationed at the consulate in Naples, and he came and visited. And so we got to take pictures with him and the NBA trophy.
Awesome. And hold on, I got a special guest that's going to chime in, then we'll take a look at that next photo. Oh. Keith Mason, who is this?
That's my dad. So hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Yes, he's a retired Air Force.
Where's he watching from?
Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Awesome. Arkansas. Love it. All right. Do we have that other photo that we can pull up?
There we go.
Wow. Look at this. Look at this adorable family.
Late 1970s.
The pads are bigger than your brother's head.
Yes. Right yeah. He was the mascot. I was a cheerleader. My dad was a coach of the Pee Wee American Football League team, and my mother was the cheerleading coach. So definitely a family affair.
Awesome. All right, let's move on from that. Let's see. March is Women's History Month. You're dressed in purple right now. It's perfect. You've had an incredible career. You've had a very, very interesting journey. What advice would you give to young women who are just starting out in their profession and their career?
I would say just follow your heart. You are strong. You're stronger than you think you are. You can do anything you want to do. If you want to have a family and raise children, that is the most noble profession there is. You want to follow your dream and have your career, you can do that too. You can do anything that you want to and that you set your mind to. Just go for it. Just do it.
Awesome. We're getting time to wrap up. I'm going to pull up one other person.
It's my brother.
Kid Mason.
Yeah.
The bro. Where's your brother watching from?
I believe he's in California right now on a job. So that's cool. So a couple hours behind us. I'm glad he was able to make it.
We're worldwide here. All right, we got real quick. I'm going to go to our rapid fire section. You don't know these questions, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just say them as quick as you can. I already know the answer to the first one. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Obviously. If you're stranded in a remote location, you can only bring 3 things. What would you bring?
So in a remote location, I would bring my husband, because he's a fantastic cook and can cook anything. 2, I would bring a very good historical fiction book, probably by Michener, because they're really, really thick and it would take a long time to get through. 3, that's a good, I pass.
Pass. Okay. What was Michelle Mason like as a 12-year-old?
Well, you saw a picture. That was pretty close to it. Just bubbly, outgoing, fun. I was in the band, played the flute. I guess I was a nerd in school. Did my best to make straight A's. Yeah.
And here you are, a child of the world, but American at heart. Thank you so much for joining us, Michelle, on the show today. We are going to actually go on now. I did an interview that I recorded a couple weeks ago as part of this program for Women's History Month with a woman named Nicole Cirillo. Mm-hmm. She's the executive director of the International Association for Volunteer Effort. She was actually in Kingston a couple weeks ago for a national volunteer conference, which was hosted by the Council of Volunteer Social Services. So let's have a look. All right, we are here with Nicole Cirillo. She is the executive director at the International Association for Volunteer Effort. Nicole, welcome to the Star Spangled Sit-Down.
Thank you so much, Bobby. It's delightful to be here.
Now, you are in town to participate in CVSS, which is the Council for Voluntary Social Services National Volunteer Conference. How are you enjoying Jamaica so far?
Oh my goodness, what an amazing country. It is my first trip to Jamaica.
Great.
And please know that in my hometown, which is in Boston, Massachusetts, there was a foot of snow yesterday. So I believe that might answer the question right there, Bobby, as to how I'm enjoying Jamaica. But seriously, I find it to be so warm, so welcoming, and such a true spirit of volunteerism here through the people. I've been delighted, and I will certainly go home with lots of good memories, even though I've had a short stay.
Well, let's talk about that. So you are the keynote speaker at this National Volunteer Conference here. Tell us about your background and how long have you been volunteering for?
I've been volunteering, I'm not going to say the years because it's a long time, but ever since I was a kid. I think my parents have sort of I grew up with this notion that what you do is give back, and you kind of make the world a better place. That's sort of what you do. As someone once said, I believe it was Muhammad Ali once said, that service is your rent for being here on this earth. And I've always grown up with that. I enjoy it, I get a lot out of it, and I am active in a number of organizations. And I think it's made me a better employee, it's made me a better person, it's made me a better mother. It's just been a really important part of my life.
At the conference yesterday, tell us a little bit about some of the other organizations or some of the breakout sessions that you had. What did you guys focus on?
We focused on a lot of things, and first of all, I would have to say I was delighted by the people in the room.
Right.
There are people from all over the island who are involved in organizations that help people, so service organizations that engage volunteers as part of their mission. So it was a collection of these folks representing a lot of different issues, all in the room. And I think, as I say, I don't often use the word love in my conversation, but I felt like there was a lot of love in the room and a lot of sort of collaboration, which is interesting because that's what we ended up talking about a lot, is that we can't solve these problems alone. We in fact need to collaborate with one another. We need to really build bridges, even across the volunteering sector, with the private sector, with government, with health agencies. We really need to do that in order to really make volunteering the vibrant part of the community that it is.
And yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned yesterday the culture of collaboration. How can communities and nations build a culture of volunteerism that can be passed from one generation to the next?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Bobby. What I would say is, it's probably already there. As I like to say, I don't think any of us can get through our normal day without the help of volunteers. Those people might not ever consider themselves volunteers, call themselves volunteers, but that is very much a volunteer spirit. So I think the first thing we can do is recognize that that's likely already a big part of society. I think this is where governments and this is where agencies and the private sector can also really help to really create policies that substantiate and fund and resource these little organizations that I spoke about that are really engaging volunteers. And with everything, I say it starts when you're young. It starts with that notion and that first experience that you have as a volunteer, whether it's because you want to do a school project or you want to travel with a volunteer experience. It really doesn't matter. It's that first experience when you're young. So I would say providing and investing in youth volunteerism is an excellent way to substantiate that culture of volunteerism.
Now, volunteerism for Americans is kind of ingrained. Oftentimes, it might even be a requirement as something that they would do in school. What would your tips be, or what would your guidance be for a young person here in Jamaica who might not have the structural elements around them to volunteer, but is interested in helping out their community?
I think that's an excellent question. And to everybody out there who's listening, who has ever thought, why is this problem like this? Or I want to help solve this problem. My advice is just do it, because volunteerism doesn't have to be this big, elaborate thing that you're connected to an organization. I was listening to a news story the other day about a man who just started a basketball. He saw some kids hanging around with nothing to do, maybe getting into trouble, and he just brought a basketball, and they started shooting hoops. And that grew into this effort to connect kids through basketball and set up a tutoring program, set up an exchange program, and it grew into this amazing organization. And that man said, I never even considered that I'd be here with this. I just picked up a basketball and started shooting hoops with some kids that looked bored and looked like they might be maybe getting into a little trouble if they didn't have something else to do. So my advice is just do something, right? I mean, Nike created that phrase. Let's use that. Just do it. Don't wait to be asked, and don't wait for that big sort of organization to come in and help. If you have a passion and you find a problem, get involved.
COVID-19 is still a thing, and it's changed the way that we engage. How can someone with a passion for volunteerism adapt to these changes and find new ways to help others while COVID-19 exists?
Again, an excellent question. You've obviously done this before, Bobby. Thank you. So we're talking a lot now about something called virtual volunteering. If you've got a computer, if you've got access, there are many organizations that are now offering tutoring, for example, or offering college essay preparation, for example, or offering visits with elders that may be shut in. That's been an amazing pivot, as we like to say, during COVID-19, the use of digital technology. And we understand that there is a digital divide. Not everybody has access. Not everybody has consistent access. But if you're somebody that does, that's a way that volunteering will be forever changed. We're not going to leave behind the face-to-face volunteering, but that legacy of COVID will certainly be that digital opportunity to connect. And the other kind of cool thing about that is you can speak to somebody all across the world, all the way across the world, from your bedroom. You can be helping a kid in Zimbabwe tutor. You can be helping a kid right in your community. So it's that global village creation. I think that'll be a legacy of how volunteering has changed, how COVID-19 has changed volunteering.
Now, volunteering is usually an unpaid thing, and one of the difficult things that I know that volunteer organizations have is finding funding for their organizations to really get them off the ground. What are some ways? What are some tips you can provide to organizations who are trying to find avenues for funding?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an ever-present question that we all have to deal with. I think my answer to that is I'd like to see governments really rise up and take responsibility for resourcing volunteering in their countries and in their regions. Volunteering is such an important part of civil society. It is such an important part of the creation of a resilient society that I'd like to think it's valuable enough for governments to really begin to resource or increase their resourcing around volunteering, whether that means local organizations or whether that means paying for training or whether that means subsidies for people to be able to. I think having conversations, again, goes back to that collaborating with governments, whether it's local or national, to really start to have that resourcing conversation is very important. I would also say, obviously, the private sector is a big part of this.
Right.
Every company today knows that it can't just be in business to make its product or service. It has to be in business to deliver a social value, and they understand that. And I'm very happy to say that many corporations globally have really led and really dug into COVID-19 and really done that resourcing for volunteering and created funds for volunteers. So I would say making those arguments both to government and the private sector about the need to fund volunteering.
Well, hopefully COVID-19, as difficult as the time it has been helped to jumpstart a lot of these organizations and to realize that, hey, this is the pathway that we should always be taking.
Indeed.
We're going to move into some rapid fire questions, okay? And so you don't know what these are going to be, but just answer them quickly. All right. Question number 1 is, what has been your proudest moment as a volunteer?
Working in Haiti after an earthquake to do medical services.
Is the glass half empty or half full?
Oh, always half full, Bobby. Always. Can I add, or you want?
Sure. No. Go ahead.
Look, there are so many problems and challenges in life, and the science is clear. The attitude that you bring to a situation can mean the difference between success and failure. So no matter how dark it is, just keep that hope, keep that faith, and keep the work going.
If you're stranded on an island and you can only bring 3 things with you, what would you bring?
My dog.
Okay. What type of dog?
He's a German Shepherd, so he may not fare very well on a hot island. Yeah. So I'm going to make this a cold island if that's okay.
Sure.
I mean, now you're making me feel guilty because I'm going to have to say that my husband and my kid, which I would actually legitimately do, but I was thinking maybe books, I was thinking maybe some other stuff, but I'll go with that.
All right. What was Nicole Cirillo like when she was 12 years old?
She cared about a lot of stuff. And she cared about community, she cared about people, she cared about animals, she cared about a lot of things. And she was looking for a mentor to say, it's okay to really care. Because sometimes, we get messages in society like, and increasingly, that say, just keep focused on yourself and don't worry about other people. But luckily I was able to have some mentors in my life, even at that age, that were really good role models around making sure you give back, making sure you care.
What's your final message to the Jamaican people in terms of volunteering and giving back?
You have a great country. You have an extraordinary country, and you have a vibrancy here that I don't often see, and I've traveled to a lot of countries. So live that and own that and keep that spirit alive and make sure that you're connecting with one another and you're really continuing to build that culture of volunteerism so that, the question earlier, kids growing up today automatically see it as something that is an important part of their lives.
how can folks at home get in touch with IAVE or learn more about volunteering?
Excellent. Well, we are digital, so if they go to www.iave.org, again, that's the International Association for Volunteer Effort. They can find us, our website, lots of resources, our Twitter, our Instagram, everything they need.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much, Nicole Cirillo. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much, Bobby. It's been delightful.
Of course. All right, that was our interview with Nicole Cirillo, and both you and Nicole said that if you were on an island and you were stranded, that you would bring your husbands with you. So we actually have your hubby tuning in.
Yay. Hi, Hud.
All right, so you had your parents, your brother, your daughter, your husband.
And my brother-in-law also gave a little shout out. So John Redding also. So yeah,
Well,
so thank you, family.
It is a family affair.
Yes, it is.
From start to finish. Thank you so much again, Acting Deputy Chief of Mission Michelle Mason, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you, Bobby. It was a pleasure.
And thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.